What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more Bruce Springsteen. Once again, major thank you to Michaela for providing all sorts of music, including the boss's catalog. Not only this selection of 20 plus tunes, but also a number of releases and compilations. I've only just begun the process of getting them all over to my music computer, but the point is, when we finish going through this choice selection of tracks from different years and different releases, I have a number of proper albums for us to go through. So once again, major thank you to Michaela and to all those who joined in the early phase of this deep dive. And the next tune I chose from the selected playlist is Downbound Train. Do I have that right? Make sure I have that right. Yeah, Downbound Train. So, okay, a train gives us a visual reference as well as a sense of the type of motion. Of course, it makes me think of sitting on a train and looking out, which can show you the passing landscape, and of course that could be good metaphor for time or for going to different places and having different experiences and the sort of train of experience and your life. Of course, Downbound sounds like the heading, maybe not the destination, but the heading, the direction is one that is going down, which you can interpret in different ways. It could literally just be like going downtown, or it could be going down in terms of going south, or in a more literal sense directionally. But when I first looked at the title, my thought was maybe it's, being in a bad way, like things happening that are not helpful or that are harmful to the person in question, and thus the train might not even be a literal train, even if it would make sense that it functions on multiple levels and we're seeing a visual or thinking of a narrative where someone is on a train. But yeah, it could be like a train of events, a sequence of events where things get worse and you're heading down in terms of your status or your condition. And knowing that some of his tunes are about, the downtrodden or, people who are in a bad way or have tough luck in their life, I wouldn't be surprised by that. Now, again, I'm still in the very early phases of hearing his music and his songwriting, which I'm already very impressed by in terms of the scenes that he paints and the narratives that are being woven, not only for like a character in the song, but for people more broadly or for certain demographics within this thing we call life. So yes, ultimately when I saw the title, my thought is, maybe it could be like you're downbound on this train, meaning things aren't going your way and it seems like one after another. Either way, I'll try to catch what I can. Bear with me if I can't follow all the lyrical dots on a first listen, and of course I look forward to hearing any insights people may have. Let's give it a listen. This is Bruce Springsteen. The track is Downbound Train, and it's included on a selected playlist provided by Michaela.
I had a job, I had a girl, had something gone, mister, in this world. I got laid off down at the lumber yard. Our love went bad, times got hard. beyond the highway, in the moonlight, our wedding house shone. I rushed through the yard, I burst through the front door, my head pounding hard, up the stairs I climbed. The room was dark, our bed was empty, then I heard that long whistle whine, and I dropped to my knees on my head and cried. I swing the sledgehammer, a railroad gang, knocking down them crossties, working in a rain. I don't feel like you're riding on a downbound train.
I could have gone for a couple more minutes of that, even if it was just a instrumental solo like flourish section. I feel like that was a shorter one. Yeah, about 3.5 minutes, but certainly there's a lot of a narrative which, again, I feel like I caught parts of, though I'm not sure not only of the ending but exactly some of the nuances. But first of all, the Sonics, I enjoy his vocals again. They're not the scratchiest I've yet heard, they're not the biggest I've yet heard, but they are both impassioned with a bit of rasp and also very lyrical in their articulation of the story. I will say also I enjoyed that organ. I think it was an organ. There was like a texture underneath the guitar and the drums, and I think that was an organ. It wasn't, soloing, it wasn't taking over the track at any point, but it really gave nice sonic and melodic texture to the tune, especially in a couple of the moments where it was instrumental in configuration. And I did enjoy that moment where he was talking about like hearing her voice, I think it was, and like almost everything else backed away from the track, and it was basically just his vocals. It wasn't like fully a cappella, I don't think, but it was a clever bit of composition / songwriting. And yeah, okay, so it sounds like there is maybe dual layering of the meaning here. Like, I think, he talks about her buying a ticket on the Sea Line or something, so taking a train, but I do think Downbound Train is kind of what I was thinking in advance, like a sequence of events where things aren't going his way, and things are tough, and it seems like he can't catch a break, and they just go from bad to worse. But yeah, okay, so he says like, he had a job, he had a girl, I think he's working at a car wash, and I think there was a line about like rain, which it's, like, if you have, if you just paid for a car wash and then it rains, it's like, come on, man, like, what the timing of that? So I don't know if there was like a almost humorous bit of like, oh, things just aren't going his way, but it seemed like that was maybe one of the lines. But then it sounds like, he gets fired from his job, and it sounded at first like maybe the girl was taken off, she had to leave, so it's, just one thing after another. But then it was like, she's on the phone with him, and like, oh, he could tell she was crying or something like that. So it sounds like he rushes home, like, puts on his jacket, runs across the field, bursts through the front gate, goes through the front door, runs up the stairs, goes into the room, and it sounds like she's already gone, if I heard that correctly, to which he sinks down to his knees, sort of breaks down, begins crying, and it seems like it's the complete culmination of being on this downbound train, that he like tried to rush to fix the situation or to help her heal, but it sounds like he was too late, and it ends up being his loss in multiple ways. So yeah, again, maybe I'm missing a detail, maybe there's a line that I didn't hear correctly, maybe the ending of the story was different than what I thought it was, but yeah, it really does sound like it's both related to a literal train but also a downward sequence of events. And I enjoyed the way like he led into the downbound train. You can like feel the trajectory like heading downward, in like melody and in themes, again, if I'm hearing it correctly. So a short tune, but a lot packed into it. Again, I enjoy his songwriting and his vocal delivery, which, you know, going into this, what I did remember about his vocals is that he can go big, just based on, again, one or two songs I had heard when I was younger, and also that he had a bit of like scratchy rasp. I've heard that in these half dozen or so songs I've gone through, but I've heard more lyrical dynamics and variety than, and you know, I didn't go into this with any expectations. I was going to say than I expected, but that's not really the right way to phrase it. Then more than I was prepared for, I guess. So yeah, very much enjoying all aspects of his music so far. Again, I'll keep doing these roughly every 10 days, so we've got a lot of Bruce ahead of us. Hopefully you're here for it. Thank you again to Michaela. Let me know what you have to say, and I'll see you for the next one. Peace.